Jack Rudy was just a legend. You know, he was an inventor. He created the first single needle tattooing in the machine and in the commercial industry. No one thought that ink would even be able to slide down into the tube and hold. So when you talk about fine line tattooing, that fine line tattooing was created by the legend Jack Rudy. Back in 1975, everyone was saying, oh, one of the first conventions Jack Rudy went to, they just were like, there's no way. There's no way. Let me go and see how great this artwork and this guy's doing now portraits, you know, that are similar to just taking a picture and being able to copy it exactly with a single needle without any shading or heavy lines. And that made portraits actually come more 3D. So if you know you want more detail, of course you have to go into the smaller needles. You can't go any smaller than a single needle. And he's the legend of the single needle, but also the legend of the one-liners. And he was a great man to know. I loved having some of these National Tattoo Association convention posters because I got a lot of people that I met and got their signatures on there. And they did little doodles all the time, especially Jack. I met Jack Rudy back in 2004. I believe that was a convention that was called the All-American Tattoo Convention that Mickey put on in Sacramento. I actually went to lunch with him many times where, you know, most people wish they could sit down and talk to this guy, and they came up to me and said, oh man, how do you know Jack Rudy so well? You know, well, first time I met him, he was kind of sarcastic to me, and I gave it back to him. I just felt like maybe we could get along, you know. It was all about, you know, his artwork. He tattooed the famous Jesse James, which was Pay Up Sucker, on his hand. And I kind of went up to him and I said, you know, I'm gonna get a tattoo by you one day, and it's gonna be Pay Up Sucker, and it's gonna be $1 million bill on my hand. And he's like, I would never redo a tattoo, that's not me. You know, you could pick something that I drew up, and if I put it on somebody, I'm gonna change it a little bit just for your customization, because he always loved to draw, and he made his own customization to actually fit your body's needs, depending on, you know, your skin type. You know, I was all about the ocean, so he did some waves. He did a skull because I was a Leo. It was a saber-toothed tiger skull eating a fish, and the fish was all in bones, and it was one of my favorite fish that I caught behind my house, called the snook. So he put a snook skull on there, and it was one of his first fish skulls. So it's like he loved doing innovative things, and I also loved innovating. We had him at the London Tattoo Convention, and he did this, nobody even was getting tattooed by him. He did this one artwork that I just started seeing the H, the 2, and the ocean, and looked over his shoulder, and he was like, you know, what are you doing? I said, oh man, I'm just checking out what you're doing, Jack. I mean, I can't believe no one's getting tattooed by you. It's a famous tattoo artist at a big famous tattoo show that he was sitting in our booth, invited by H2Ocean as one of our first pro team members too. And just started doing it, and he wrote in there, the original, the greatest since 2001. And it became one of our shirts, and this is one of the shirts he did too as well. So he's done a lot of original artwork for me. Doesn't sell his artwork. Originals are really hard to get from Jack Rudy. He always, even at the National Tattoo Conventions, when he would donate his artwork for auction, I remember trying to buy one, and he just kept on outbidding me. You know, I got up to $3,000 for one of his pieces, and I'd hear him, 3,200, and I knew his voice. You can't miss that voice. And I look back at him and I go, man, what are you doing? You know, like, okay, maybe he's trying to get me to buy it for more. I know he knows the value of his artwork and how much time he put into it. So I said, all right, $3,500. And then he gave me this look. He looked back at me and it was like, you better not outbid me, motherfucker. And then I was like, oh shit, because this guy's a big dude, you know, he's a Marine, you know, he was strong. And it was just the way his voice and his demeanor is you don't want to mess with this fucker. And then basically, you know, I stopped my bidding and yeah, he outbid me by maybe at that point, he paid $3,550. And then I knew it was like, he didn't want to go any more on that, but he bought his own artwork. And he did do a lot of charity events, you know, and that's kind of like what I liked about him too as well, because it wasn't about the money, it was just about he knew his value. And some of the artwork I'm going to show you, and artwork on this wall might have been for shows, not just in the Tattoo Association, you know, where that's the 35th, but he's done also, you know, the Valley of the Sun Tattoo Expo in Mesa, Arizona. You know, he did their shirts. He did the Detroit City tattoo shirts for, you know, Brian Everett and Tramp, who owns the Eternal Ink. He visited here at H2Ocean's office. Did some doodle that I would never get erased on my eraser board here. Oh yeah, Eddie would definitely go. As I know, I've been traveling all over the world with Jack Rudy, multiple countries around the world. And just seen that sign, Eddie would go, and decided at one time when I had to go to work to do that little doodle for me. It's been up ever since. And then he started tattooing me. This is all his artwork right here. And he's like a legend in the lettering. You know, anybody that does lettering right now that does not know Jack Rudy is, as a single needle artist, his lettering is, I mean, he had all different styles of lettering that he did. When he did this chest piece on me, I just got out of a car accident with my brother. My brother was airlifted because he went into a coma. I got sent to another hospital. I had 2 broken ribs, and there was a show that I was going to at the Palladium, and it was the Hollywood Tattoo Show, and he was there too as well. I had the first wireless tattoo machine that I was showing everybody off, and it was digital. Another invention in the tattoo industry. Went up to him, gave him his gift, and it was actually my birthday, so he was like, hey, let me tattoo you. And so he did this, and my ribs were broken right here. And I told him, I said, man, I got broken ribs, I don't know. He goes, I'll be gentle. He was pretty gentle, but then his light just fell on top of me. And then I had to hold his light while he was tattooing me. And I remember going through, it was past 2 o'clock. I had to fly out at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And he's like, oh, I got about maybe another half hour, you'll be able to go home. And it was 2 hours later, and I missed my flight, but it was worth it. And you know, he didn't even charge me on it. It was my birthday gift, and you know, it's a blessing to get tattooed by somebody like him. And you know, we were kind of just like best friends, you know, just at the conventions, always talking. Never at one time, if I seen him somewhere, I didn't have, you know, a chance to come up and say thank you and sit down, let's go to dinner, let's go to lunch, you know, or just have a long conversation, because he did give a lot of people time in the industry. He talked a lot. He was a great roaster at all the national tattoo conventions that I went to. He was the roast master in many of them. Funny guy. We'll miss him. We'll miss you a lot, Jack. You know, we think about you a lot here at H2Ocean, and I'm sure a lot of other people have great stories too as well, but I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a story of what we've done together all around the world, and there's many more that you'll probably hear when we're going to be starting our podcast soon here at H2Ocean.
So Jack, Rudy, are you gonna tell us what you think about the H2Ocean Pro Team? Is it coming together?
I think it's pretty cool. What do you fucking think this is, man? Fucking LA stink? What is it, a fucking documentary?
Yeah.
Get the fucking camera out of my fucking face. But otherwise, H2Ocean's good. I think the fucking protein's badass. It's the shit, baby.
It's the baddest thing.
That's right.